Hey, you guys, this is my favorite part of my day. I got my feet up, baby. Somebody must really need to hear this because I wasn't going to make another video tonight, but it was heavy on me to make this video. So I'm going to go ahead and bang this out very quickly because I hate it when I'm listening to other people's video and they just don't get to the point. I'm like, ugh, a lot of times they lose me. They lose me. But either way, I digress, right? 10 things that gullible people do. And I'm giving you guys this list because I don't want you to be doing these things, all right? And we're here to increase our emotional maturity. So somebody must need to hear this because this was not on my radar for tonight. But let's begin. Number one, with gullible people, everything tend to have to be literal. And we can replace the word gullible with naive as well. Literal, like they literally need people to tell them, I broke up with you. That just puts you in a bad situation. Like the person's energy is shifting and changing. Like they mentally left the relationship months ago. Physically, because if they were cheating, like psychologically, like you're just seeing a shell of a body at that point. So gullible people need everything to happen for them literally in their face in a 3D. And even then, it could be some type of question if there's a lot of toxicity, like a trauma bond. Well, they cheated on me. Are we still together? Shouldn't you be answering that question? Everything don't need to be literal. You got to be able to pick up clues. And people on this channel usually can feel energies. But when you're in those toxic relationships, you're out of touch with the energies. And you're running off of, these trauma bonds and these soul ties. So you're not in the right mind, but a lot of times gullible and naive people, they need everything to be literal because they're out of touch with themselves because we have a gut, we have instincts, we have intuitions, the hairs rise on our arms and stuff, and it could put you in dangerous situations, but you're not even allowing that to come through as potent as it should. You're like shutting this down. So you're literally out of touch with your senses at that point. And you totally need to be recalibrated. Okay? So yeah, number one, everything has to be too literal, and spiritually everything. Like you're missing out on all of that. You could be meditating in silence and some answer come to you. And you're like second guessing it, that like you need everything to be so three-dimensional on the plane. And that's like the least, I won't say the least, it's not always the least confirming, but it's just you're missing out. Everything works well together when you're able to see the angles and you're able to tap into all the resources at your disposal to be able to make decisions, nonverbal clues, all of that. All right. And with that being said, number two, gullible and naive people, they miss the signs because they're too busy focused on other things, and chances are the wrong things. And then, should I say distracted rather than focused? No, it's a little bit of both. So they miss signs and then they minimize red flags. They minimize red flags. So, a person's doing something, showing you right in front of your face who they are, and you're not taking it as serious as you should. If you're even paying attention to it at all, because you're focused on something else in a relationship and not really being present enough in the moment to be able to take in what's being shown to you. We shouldn't be doing that. We got to get better. All right. Number three, gullible and naive people, they actually rather be late than early. And I'm going to explain myself. Savvy people, they like to size up situations ahead of time because they want the least amount of damage, if no damage is possible. Like, okay, I see where this is headed. I'm just going to go ahead on and get off of this shit right now. I'm getting on off of this bus stop right now. I'm removing myself from this situation right now because I see it's already starting to escalate. No, because if we go back to number one with that three-dimensional thing, staying in situations too long. So in that way, naive and gullible people, they rather be late than early because they're not taking all the other clues in the symbols and signs as deep as they should, and it's making them stay in situations too long and sometimes that can be very extreme. And I don't even want to say how, okay? You guys hear stories every day. People who probably was not taking those signs the way that they should have, okay? And God bless them, you know? And a lot of reasons this is also happening is because of a lower self-esteem and a lower self-confidence. You know, I just actually made a video about the number one sign of being healed from codependency, which is being willing to be able to take control of your life. But you can't do that unless you have enough confidence in your own voice, enough confidence in your ability to make a decision. So another reason why gullible and naive people, stay in these situations longer is that low self-confidence and that self-doubt is creeping in there and is greater, is causing them to hesitate. You see what I'm saying? So let's go on to number 4. Gullible and naive people, they use their imagination to idealize situations versus premeditate in a practical manner, if you will. Like if I'm going to be sitting up here, we always talk about on this channel seeing angles, and it's like, it's not too many ways that people are going to surprise me. Because I done thought about the most beautifulest thing to the most darkest thing. Like, it's not a lot of surprises that's going to come. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm not going to sit here and use my imagination to just idealize a situation and make those the possible outcomes and not premeditate things practically. Okay? And then that will get a person caught off guard eventually because they're not even considering these things. And this is how people get blindsided and they're just shocked and because they never even consider these things. All right. So number 5, gullible and naive people, they run off of emotions. You know, people, you know, manipulative people, they learn how to play off of people's emotions, how to prick and poke at people's emotions. So if you're running off of your emotions, you're going to be prime candidate for getting got, for getting manipulated in some way, you know. And these emotions run deep, especially when the emotions are tied to a trauma bond, or these emotions are tied to a soul tie, you know. And it's basically almost impossible to heal these things if you're just running off of emotions. It's the moment when you're stepping outside of those issues and you're being practical, because you have to do it. It's like, just like if I was a drug addict, I know I'm going to go through withdrawal, but I logically know that. And it's like, okay, my body's going to be craving it. This is going to happen. I'm going to get the shakes. All these things are going to happen to me. I'm logically thinking about this. And now, okay, I need to set up some safeguards because I know this is about to happen so that I can stay strong, so I can get through this phase of it, you know, rather than running off of emotions. Oh, as soon as that phase hit, I didn't even think about it. I didn't premeditate it. I didn't set up any support system. Oh, I'm getting high again. You know. Number 6, you guys. They waste time repeating cycles subconsciously. All right. And the reason why I'm going to say subconsciously at this point is because there's the thing about thinking it will be different with the next person. It's like, okay, let's say this is like a very easy way. Like, okay, I just jump into sex in all my relationships, and every time things seem to just stay shallow and I never really got what I wanted out of it. The relationship, you know, my goal was to be a wife and I handled it this way and that didn't seem to be working. But hey, I'm going to jump into sex with this person too. Maybe it'll be different this time. Now, sidebar, these are exceptions. I'm not saying that people didn't have one-night stands and ended up married. It happens. It definitely happens. But is that more of the exception? Are most people that emotionally mature that would happen that way for them? Okay, this is what we got to be thinking about here. So in that case, it's extremely less likely, more than not. So that's the thing. Wasting time, repeating cycles, thinking it's going to be different. And then they say doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome is like insanity, right? So number 7, you guys, they don't read the fine print. And when I say that, we can talk about literal contracts and pieces of paper, but we can go ahead and take that in a figurative manner. Like the fine print could be a guy telling you, I'm not looking for something serious. So now if you venture into it thinking your love, your sex, your emotions, your divine feminine energy, your hospitality, your generosity, you think that stuff is going to change his mind, that is an exception. Maybe, he could be like, well, I wasn't, but chances are, if a person is not in that place and they tell you that, A, either they just don't see it with you, or B, they really just aren't in that place. So, sometimes things are just blunt, but don't, take that and think, well, I can change this person. No, gullible, and, that's a lot of energy and a waste of time. And that's an investment. And what you going to get back for it? A rejection? That's what the odds are, a rejection at that point. So, yeah, and that's running off of emotion. Like a lot of these are just going to be running together. They're going to be running together. But yeah. The idea is get to know people. And my motto is, I'll get to know you. I'm not trying to change you, but I'm just getting to know you to see if it works for me or not. That's it. Either it's going to work for me or not. I'm not trying to change you, but I'm trying to get to the real you to see if it's going to work for me or not. Pretty simple. Nobody got energy for all that. Let people be who they are and where they are on their journey. And that's the other thing, that's kind of a lack energy there. You got to twist somebody's arm, and like, there's billions of people in the world. Like, there's so many people when you're in the right energy, you don't even have enough time for all of them. All right. So number 8, gullible and naive people, they cut off their enemies only to let them back in. And then it ends up turning into, that manipulative person takes an inch and it turns into a mile. And before you know it, they're kind of back in where it started. Like, what is the point? Like if I had a wound and I disinfected it and I got the germs off of it, I don't want any part of those germs to come back on my wound, because what is it going to eventually do? Spread. No matter what, it's going to spread. So once you cut it off and get it out, what is you bringing it back? Why are you bringing the germs back? To be reinfected. Come on now. That's what gullible and naive people end up doing. And this is what's happening as well in a cycle of abuse. It's gullible and naive once the narcissist keeps telling you this and that, and you keep falling for those empty promises. How many chances does someone get to play with your emotions, your time, all parts of you, honestly, in some cases. All right. Number 9, gullible and naive people, they don't put their best interest first. Too nice, but not to themselves. Not to themselves, and that's, self-abuse right there. So yeah, not putting your own best interest first. Like, it's okay. Like, oh, I don't want to say no and hurt their feelings. Like, I just worked a double shift and now they need me to do this favor, but I'm so exhausted and my body is so tired. I don't have it in me, but I don't want to say no. I'm going to push myself a little. I would love to help you, honey, but I have worked a double shift and I don't even have the energy. Like, I really have to rest. I have an early day tomorrow. Like, I cannot do that. I'm sorry. I cannot help you with that. Maybe next time. Like the self-care, like not putting your own best interest first, it just gets you abused and used and ran through the damn ground. Okay? Number 10. They believe what they're told. They believe what they're told. And without even really seeing too much proof. Like, people could just tell you anything and you just take them verbatim, or, well, they promised, I guess so. They said it. It must be so. It must be true. Not exactly. People do something called lying quite often. Little and big ones. Stuff that they don't even need to be lying about. Okay? Some people are just habitual with it, with a straight face. Like, especially when you do not even have a rapport with someone. Like, you cannot just believe what you're told. And then on top of that, when you're in that situation, there's no plan B, there's no plan C, D, E, F, G. You know, they're just horrible at protecting themselves in that way. Because if you're just going straight off of going back to number one, the 3D, someone verbally told me something, you know, got to consider the source. And also, not only that, if it's something that's really important to you, you got to make sure the source is even worthy to be believed to begin with, you know? So these are just some things, you guys, that gullible and naive people do, and you guys shouldn't be doing it. If you want to add some more to the list down there, go ahead and run it up. But let's do better. Like, people work too hard for their money to be getting got, you know? And somebody's calling me. I gotta go, you guys. Stay well, stay blessed. I hope this helped you on your journey, and take care until next time. Bye-bye.